Hello and welcome to SquishiVision, where I'm joined by my cat River, who wants pets. They're not the best at times, but that's fine. So this is my reaction to Rings of Power VI, which basically explores the fallout of everything that happened in the last episode, and there's some really good bits here. Let's start with the bits that don't follow from last week's episode. So we continue the plot with the dwarves, and we continue the plot with the Harfoots. So everyone's tune has changed in regards to the stranger, except for Nori, who last time we saw was a bit spooked by the power of the stranger when he healed himself. So she's kind of being a bit more cautious than everyone else is. They reach the grove that they've been trying to get to, and they find that it's been basically damaged by the eruption of Mount Doom. So actually that is a consequence from the last episode. Bits of the volcano have smashed into like the trees and stuff, and so there's no food left. They're kind of panicking, and then now that they like trust the stranger, Zardoc is like, well, get him to do his powers, and they're cautious about it, but he goes and asks, and Zardoc basically starts chanting very loudly, and it seems to work, but then the branch falls down and almost kills a small kid. No one else seems, well, they do seem a bit hesitant about this. Actually, no, like, take it back. Everyone's kind of not so sure about this, and so they basically take a kind of actually a middle ground approach. They give him a map to the stars, and they tell him where to go to like speak to like the humans, to the big folk. Send him on the way. So they kick him out, but they kick him out gently, more gentler than they were going to initially do when they first found out he existed. So they've kind of taken that approach. Nori kind of makes a sort of, what's the word, she gives him an apple basically, so she's like not quite forgiven him, but she doesn't want to leave things on bad terms, and he goes off. And then in the night, the mysterious very pale people turn up. I mean, there's people, I saw loads of things on the internet of people like, that's meant to be Sauron, but I think, to be fair, this is a Mephisto situation where everyone is possibly Sauron, and I don't think we can really speculate, because it's probably going to make a twist that goes either against what we imagine it's going to be. But he turns up clearly trying to stalk this figure. Nori reveals that the Harfoots are around by basically shouting and trying to trick him into the wrong way, but literally he knows that she's lying from like the get-go and isn't phased, doesn't say a word, simply walks up to them, and when they start trying to ward him off a fire, burns all the houses down, which is like, oh my god, that's like literally everything they ever owned, his entire way of life, and it's quite a crippling thing to happen. So understandably, Nori's very kind of upset about it, but like this is a kind of thing that's occurring in this episode. It seems to have like at least changed their mindset of a lot of the Harfoots, or at least made them given the heads a bit of a wobble. Because whereas before they were very much blaming Nori for bringing ruin on them by even daring to bring the stranger into the camp, here, her father's like, you just, things happen, you just got to deal and move on, and Nori takes that to basically mean, I'm going to go and warn the big guy that this is all coming, and several other Harfoots, including those who were very opposed in the first place, were like, yeah, we'll come with you, and it's a very wholesome moment, and I like it. It's more in line with the message of hope and camaraderie that we can expect from Lord of the Rings. So that's great to see that kind of development. So her, Poppy, her mother, and Lenny Henry go off on this adventure, which is just the best thing ever. So yeah, and I love that. I love the kind of genuineness. I still love seeing the wide-eyed nature of all the Harfoots, and like even the trauma, like all their things being burnt, but like Tim's been like, we've got a deal. Again, I love the Elrond Durin storyline. Durin and Elrond try to like convince the king to let them take Mithril. The king makes a very valid point that taking Mithril will destabilize the kingdom, and he's probably right, both because digging there has caused like cave-ins, but also we know that this eventually leads to the Balrog, which we see in a dramatic moment like towards the end of the episode when we fall over. It's quite a horror moment where we fall over chasms all the way down to the base, and there's the Balrog just waiting in the depths of the mountains, and we all know what happens eventually when they dig too deeply. They release the Balrog and basically kill, they'll get killed. Although that's what, 2 3 generations down after the king. It's during the 6th that happens to, so I mean there's some time left to go, but it's clearly the thing that kind of precipitates that. But like, you know, everyone's doing the A game there. Like Durin's whole grief at having to tell Elrond that he can't help him, and they both believe that this means this is the last time they're ever going to see each other, and Durin literally like bursts down sobbing, and it's just so wholesome. The way that his wife is like trying to comfort and support him and convince him to like go against the will of his father, and like her kind of fiery insistence, Aaron's gentleness, calm nature, like you can see why they'd be a good pairing. Eventually Durin's like, suck it, I'm gonna just dig myself, and he does. And there's a moment where he's like, you know, us dwarves have like secret names that we only tell our close family, and he's about to tell Elrond, and everyone's like, no, save it. I'm like, no, tell you, please give me this really wholesome, super intimate friendship. I love them being bros. It's so cute, and I love it, and I want to see more, and I hope you get to see more. But sadly, then his father turns up, kicks Elrond out. Essentially, I guess he disowns Durin. I mean, he rips off Durin's symbol that says he's the heir to the kingdom, and tells him it's not his anymore, which kind of implies that he's not the heir anymore. But then later on, they're like, you can't, that's hereditary, you can't take that away. So it's more of a thing. But like, so far, the king Durin has been like very stern, angry, kind of, I want to say. He's has that kind of like non-emotive, very internalized figure, and at this point he then actually shouts at Durin. Durin tries to be like, you know, Elrond is like my brother, to the extent that he feels like, you know, we share the same mother, kind of thing, and that pisses off King Durin, and this is the first time he actually shows emotion. This is the first time he kind of actually disowns younger Durin. So yeah, that's that was like really heavy stuff, and like everyone was like so intense. It's like it's contrast between the wholesome friendship of Elrond and Durin and the less wholesome friendship between Durin and his father. And then the other plot line was basically the fallout from Mount Doom erupting, which is confirmed at the end of the episode when it literally shows, which I think is a bit too meta, but whatever. It shows like the word Southlands on screen, and then it burns away and it says Mordor instead, and it's like, ah, it's Mordor. But yeah, this is now Mordor, and orcs are able to walk around freely. Everything is very red, as you can see behind me. Everyone's covered in ash. A lot of people probably were killed, and survivors are just trying to get out and regroup. Isildur appears to get killed, although we all know that's not going to happen. Although actually, Galadriel does mention that Celeborn, her husband, died in the war, which isn't what happens in Lord of the Rings, the book or the films, because we see him. So either she's wrong, and I just read an interview from one of the creators who were like, we've left it ambiguous, we know this happens in the future. That's kind of like, like, yeah, of course she's not dead, she just thinks she's dead, which I think is pretty obvious, so everyone's like freaking out about this. It's probably something with Isildur, like he's obviously not dead, it's just fake out, but like we know it's fake out. But it does lead to some great acting from the person who plays Elendil, who this looks absolutely like heartbroken. Like there's a point at the end when after Muriel is like, oh, we're gonna go back to Nuremberg, we'll go back and then come back. We're gonna come back and like have our revenge. And he's just staring off, not saying a word, and he, like no one else can see him, but he's like literally just weeping so much, and it's hard to do like cry acting. Like I don't think I can do cry acting. I think I can do like trauma cry acting. Like, you know, I'm not gonna do it now because I'm not in the mindset. But I think I can like do that kind of like controlled sobbing, but I don't think I can do that look where you look like you're uncontrollably sobbing and your face just goes really ugly, and that's something that he does in that moment, and it's like so good. Yeah, no, so good. So sorry, I lost my track. As I said, Galadriel has basically an episode. She spends with Theo and she's trying to like coach him on. Basically, she's trying to make sure he doesn't turn to her and he doesn't like burdened by the need to have revenge and have that darkness in her soul, because she knows that's where it led her. Yeah, essentially, and then they make it to like the camp, and Hal, his mother and Aranda are alive, and he hugs them both, just calls them because obviously he hated the elf a couple of episodes ago. Hamburger? Halbrand is there, but he's like really badly injured, so he has to meet the elves, get elvish healing, so that's gonna be an interesting new dynamic. Maybe they'll be able to detect something about him that we haven't been able to detect before. Yeah, there was no there was some like bloodied people and like close of some getting a wound stitched, but like this was not a violent episode, but like it's that. So you know how yesterday I talked about the last after the episode of Andor being a calm before the storm episode? This is like the calm after the storm episode, where everyone's just trying to get their breath back and recovering, but you could feel that exhaustion, you can feel that pain. Visually, like a lot of the other things look great. The fact that a lot of the Southland scenes were like filmed in like a red filter, and I'm assuming it's a red filter. I assume it looks very good. It looks like, you know, all the light in the world is being put through a red filter. Again, like my favorite bit is Elendil's kind of drama. I got a bit teared up when all the Harfoots were like, no, we're gonna stick together. And it's like, that's still wholesome. And like, yeah, Galadriel's regretting what she's done, but Muriel's like, no, I don't care anymore. We're in this to the end kind of deal, and we're building towards that last alliance between men and elves. But obviously, that's not for another, I think, 1,000 years or something. So, see what happens next episode. But that's my thoughts on I think the next episode is the last episode. Which means I finally I can get a good that. And it's last episode of this, it's last episode of She-Hulk. So I finally get to drop down from 4 shows to 2 shows. Might actually be easier to do things now when they're releasing different days. But yeah, so interested to see where we end the season. For sure. And where that develops next time. Because obviously I have like a passing knowledge of Lord of the Rings lore. I'm not like a massive nerd about it. Oh god, I'm being disintegrated. But I'm vaguely following the steps, and I vaguely know where we're heading, and I think the show acts like you vaguely know where we're heading, but you don't have that much detailed knowledge. So those are the thoughts. Let me know what you think. I'm gonna go do washing up, and after I finish checking some more emails, I get to play some video games. So that'll be on my other channel. Check out there. Bye.